Your real estate voice with Barb Schlinker. Barb's the host of the program, and this is the weekly radio show that informs and it educates you on how to buy or sell real estate, and it does it with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, I know many people ask you questions when they're getting ready to sell their home. So, what are the top questions that home sellers should be asking before they put their home up for sale?
Well, Richard, unless it's just a red hot property, and sometimes most agents have a sense for that they know it's going to go. The homes that are pretty, that are in good condition, that are priced right, generally go fairly quickly. And if they're underpriced for whatever reason, whether they're pretty or not, they generally sell very, very quickly. But right now, with 30% fewer buyers in the buyer population who can manage these higher payments with higher interest rates, you need to make sure you're asking the right questions. And not everybody has a consistent process. I like the seller to decide where they want to price their home. Of course, they all want the most money. That is always the case, and I understand that. But at the end of the day, the buyer's only going to pay what they're only going to invest that much money in a property that represents the best buy for them. So the most important thing to get a buyer to want to make an offer is make sure you price it right, prepare it right, and make sure it's properly promoted. If it's not properly promoted, that could be enough to make a buyer just pass your home by. Because now with the websites like Zillow and Realtor.com and all these others, Homes.com, they could look at these maps and see what the homes all around you are valued at, right? It's all the information is available online. And the buyers are quite educated about what the market is doing, right? So if they perceive that the home is overpriced, or if they're finding a better deal around the corner, they're going to gravitate towards that home and not buy yours. So questions that you should be asking realtors when you sit down and talk with them about handling the sale of your home. Number one, how you should prepare the home for sale. That's very important. We actually do this every week for sellers. We give them tips. Some things take a lot of advance preparation. Like I met with the seller yesterday, and they're out on in an area that gets a lot of wind, further east in the county, and of course the paint takes a beating from wind and hail and all that stuff. So they're a ways out from selling, but I suggested, once it warms up in the summer, make sure you try to paint the house or stay on top of the paint as much as possible, because if the buyer is getting, say, a VA loan in that price range, the VA appraiser will require any peeling paint on the outside to be corrected, regardless of the age of the home. Another thing that I tell people to prepare for, especially for if they have a composite shingle roof, we have a roofer that will go out and actually do a free roof certification, and they'll take a look at it and let you know if it has hail damage. That's important to get ahead of that issue if it does, because it means that you're going to have to file an insurance claim. It takes some time to negotiate what the insurance company is going to cover. And you don't want to have to deal with that in the middle of contract negotiations, because, well, a couple things happen. The buyers want to get in the game. They might want to upgrade the roof to a class 4 shingle, which is very popular because you get a discount on your homeowner's insurance, but it probably costs $1,000 to $2,000 more dollars. And it gives you more time to negotiate with different roofers and find out what the best deals are for you to replace that roof. Another system that you really have to get ahead of are the sewer and septic systems. Those can be very expensive repairs if you have to do them. Most of the counties, except for Teller, along the Front Range, require that the septic system be inspected within 6 months of selling the property. So if the septic fails, like the leach field or something like that, those are very expensive repairs, and it takes several months just to get to the finish line to do that work. So you want to get ahead of that. Sewer lines are kind of similar. When I ask people with sewer lines, have they checked their sewer line? Most of them say, we've never had any problems. So they assume it's just fine. And on the older homes in particular, if they are fractured, most buyers are bringing in somebody to check the sewer line during the inspection process. And if they find a problem, that could be very spendy. So that's a good thing to check out in the process. But more importantly, what not to do. Like, in certain price ranges, you really don't need to do a full-on kitchen remodel. It's always good to do some basic cosmetics like flooring, and if the flooring is tired and things like that. But you don't necessarily have to completely remodel the home to get ready for sale. It's the number one question that we deal with, and it's very customized towards the house. Number two question, how much my house is worth. Well, it depends on the market at the time. If you were selling your home 2 years ago, everybody was flying high with multiple offers, and it was a good time if you're a seller. If you're a buyer, it wasn't very fun. But that's not the market right now. We're kind of teetering on more of a buyer's market. So pricing it properly is absolutely critical because the market decides what they're going to pay for the house, not the seller, and certainly not the real estate agent. So I've talked to sellers about that made a change and, had an agent before and then they hired me. And I'll ask them and I'll go, I go over all the similar sales and discuss it with them. We talk about pricing. And I ask them, did the other agent show you this? And usually the answer is no. They just said price it here. And I believed them. So I don't know, Richard, how would you feel about that if they just picked a number out of the air without showing you any empirical data? What would you feel comfortable with that?
I would feel like they're guessing. I would feel like they don't have the experience of having somebody who's like you been doing this more than 25 years and would have a logical answer because you know the information. I'd be angry.
Right. But they anyway, uh, they're not trained. I mean, that is part of the issue is most of them, there's no standardization for a real estate agent. And it makes this whole world very interesting. We actually provide very excellent empirical data, and then the seller can make the decision from there. So we help a lot of people on pricing, preparation, and promotion is critical too. Some of the hottest properties in the market right now are sellers that are offering the buyer to assume their VA loan because they're sitting on 2.5%, 3% mortgages. And if the buyer has the difference in down payment, they don't even have to be a veteran to assume that mortgage. And the only risk to the seller is if that borrower ultimately forecloses, it does affect their ability to use their VA again down the road, even though they can use it for a subsequent house right away. So we're experts on that. We do that all the time. So if that thought has crossed your mind because you can't take that low interest loan with you, it will make your home extremely and instantly very popular without doing much of a price adjustment. And we know how to market that. Another question that's very important to sellers is how long will it take to sell my home? Now, this is about pricing again. If it's priced right, it won't take very long. But if it's priced high, it's going to take longer. I mean, it seems kind of logical, but if it's priced very realistically, then it should sell within the first 2 to 4 weeks. If they price it too high, which is what most people do right now, and slowly walk the price down, they will fall into the average category. If the average home is selling in over 100 days in most of the counties along the Front Range. Let me give you a story about that. I helped a seller recently that had a home out in Peyton, beautiful ranch, back to open space, really pretty floor plan, but it was very poorly promoted. The pictures were, the former agent used his cell phone. They were awful. They didn't highlight the best parts of the home. And worst case, he priced it super high and slowly walked the price down. So 110 days later, their price was down by, I think, $70,000 and still no sale. And the seller even spent money to bring in expensive staging furniture and put it in the house, and it did not move the bar. So he finally called me, and I put it on the market. The first weekend, right away, the first weekend we had the open house, we had 40 people show up. We did get offers right away, but they didn't take the first offer because it was contingent on a home selling. And when I researched that house, it wasn't going to sell at that price. It was overpriced. So I recommended that they pass on that one. And a week later, full price, closed in a couple of weeks, and everything was fine. So it is a pricing issue and a marketing issue for sure for everybody. And the market will leave clues if that happens. If you have more than 10 showings and no offers, you're too high. 10 days without any showings, you're too high. If you're getting offers, you're in the ballpark. Either you stay there and wait for the right buyer, or maybe you're getting low offers, you make a tiny adjustment or offer something special. That's how it works. But if you get offers with strings attached, that's another problem, like sale contingencies. We know how to help people with that, and that's what we do. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And we're talking about some questions you should ask if you're planning to put your house on the market of real estate agents. And next up, we're going to cover just a few of the top questions that you can ask. And we actually have a free report on barbhasthebuyers.com. Go to Barb Has the Buyers, click on the green button, free report, and you could download that free report, no costs or obligation. Richard?
Barb, we're discussing the top questions that a home seller should ask when they're getting ready to sell their home. Everyone knows that I've been recommending you for years now. Tell us, what are some of the key questions that a home seller should ask from a real estate agent?
Well, Richard, the true facts are 87% of real estate agents get out of the business every 5 years. I don't blame the agents. I think the industry is just not really dialed in on teaching their people how to sell and how to make money. They don't know. They don't know how to teach them how to get business. I had to figure it out over all these long years. 81% of the agents are selling 3 or less homes a year. I mean, you can make more money at McDonald's if you're only selling a few homes a year. So number one question would be, how many homes did you sell in the past year? And another one that's a real hard question, even when they ask it of me, I get a little, I kind of have to stop and think and go, okay, be on your best game when they say, why should we pick you over any other choice? That's a tough question. What do you think about that one, Richard?
Best answer is because Richard Randall said so.
There you go.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Well,
Yeah.
I go back to experience. You know this market, you know the ups, the downs, you've seen it all, and you've been here, each part of town, the school districts, how close to the interstate. You've got the experience and the knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know everything, and I'm always excited when I learn something new every single day. But I will tell you that, people are kind of intimidated at being stuck into a long-term contract. So that's another good question would be, how long is your agreement? And what if I want to get out of my agreement? Can I? We actually guarantee it up front. If you're not happy with us and you want to send us on our merry way, we will do that because we want happy customers and we're going to do everything to make that happen. And just be prepared for all the different things that could happen, like maybe ask them, do you have a documented system of selling a home? Unfortunately, most agents do what they call post and hope. They post listings and hope somebody else has a buyer. And we actually show up with offers. So not everybody is the same. And there's a reason for that. They just either don't know or they don't have the background to do it. So if you're interested in getting all of those questions, go to barbhasthebuyers.com. You can download the report, 10 questions to ask before you hire a real estate agent. Click on that green button to get that report or call us 719-301-3900. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. If you're thinking of making a move, call the host of the program. That is Barb, 719-301-3900, or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Or if you want a free report, top 10 questions to ask before you hire a real estate agent, visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Go to the green button. You'll find it in the upper right-hand corner. It says free reports. You'll be good to go. When we come back, we'll be discussing how do I get the highest offer on your house, plus Barb's hot new listings.